Imagine standing in the middle of a vast, scorching desert, surrounded by the rusted hulls of massive fishing trawlers that look like they were dropped from the sky. There is no water for 100 miles in any direction, yet you are technically standing on what used to be the floor of the world's fourth largest lake. This is the Aral Sea, a geographic scar where an entire ocean was effectively deleted by a series of human decisions. This isn't just a story about water. It is a story about how a superpower tried to rewrite the laws of nature and lost. Welcome back to Tales by Flex. If you're fascinated by the hidden stories that shape our maps, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss an investigation. In this investigation, we go beyond the surface to uncover how geography was weaponized to create a trillion-dollar disaster. By the end of this journey, you will understand how a single map change in the 1960s created a sovereign void that still threatens the health of millions today. We are exploring the graveyard of an ocean. To understand the death of the Aral Sea, we must first look at its unique geographic placement. Nestled between the Kizilkum and Karakum deserts in Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan, the Aral was an endorheic basin, meaning it had no outlet to the ocean. Its survival depended entirely on two vital arteries, the Amu Darya River from the south and the Sir Darya from the north. These rivers carried the snowmelt from the distant Pamir and Tian Shan mountains, creating a lush, blue oasis in the middle of a harsh, arid wasteland. It was a miracle of geography that sustained a multi-million-dollar fishing industry and a vibrant coastal culture. However, this specific isolation is exactly what made the sea vulnerable. Because it had no connection to the global ocean, any disruption to its feeder rivers was a direct death sentence. In the 1960s, Soviet planners identified this coordinate as the perfect site for a cotton empire. They viewed the water of the Amu Darya and Sir Darya as a geographic waste, precious liquid flowing into a sea where it served no purpose. Their goal was to divert these rivers to irrigate millions of acres of desert, turning Central Asia into the world's primary exporter of white gold. This decision effectively severed the sea from its life support. The geography-first reality of the Aral is that it exists in a state of delicate balance. Once the inflow was cut, the desert's extreme evaporation rates took over. The sea didn't just shrink, it retreated at a rate of nearly a meter a year. This created a new, accidental geography, the Aralkum Desert. This is the world's newest desert, a salt-crusted wasteland that occupies the space where a thriving maritime ecosystem once stood. It is a geographic scar visible even from deep space. The first layer of our investigation begins in 1960. At the start of the decade, the Aral Sea was 68,000 square kilometers of pristine water, teeming with sturgeon and carp. The Soviet Union's Great Plan for the Transformation of Nature ignored the environmental cost to satisfy the industrial quotas of Moscow. They built the Karakum Canal, the largest irrigation project in the world, which spanned over 1,300 kilometers. It was a feat of engineering, but it was also a geographic heist. By the end of the 1960s, the water level began to drop, and the salinity of the sea began to rise, killing off the very fish that local economies relied on. The second layer is the retreat of Moynock. Once a bustling port city with a massive fish processing plant, Moynock found itself in a terrifying geographic limbo. As the shoreline receded, the city's docks were suddenly miles away from the water. For years, the government tried to save the industry by digging massive canals to reach the shrinking sea. but the evaporation was too fast. Today, Moynock sits 150 kilometers away from the shoreline. The lighthouse that once guided ships now looks out over a sea of sand. This is the isolation ethic at its most cruel. A city whose entire identity was based on the sea, suddenly left stranded in a desert. The third layer is the biological catastrophe. As the water evaporated, it left behind a thick crust of salt and minerals. But this wasn't just sea salt. For decades, the runoff from the cotton fields had carried pesticides, herbicides, and fertilizers into the sea. When the water vanished, these chemicals remained in the soil.
Now, the wind picks up this toxic dust, creating massive salt storms that can be seen from orbit.
This dust is inhaled by the local population, leading to some of the highest rates of respiratory illness, throat cancer, and anemia in the world. The geography of the sea has been weaponized by the wind to poison the land. The fourth layer reveals a darker, hidden secret: Vozrozhny Island. Because of its extreme isolation in the middle of the Aral Sea, the Soviet military used this island as a secret biological weapons testing site. They tested anthrax, plague, and smallpox in the open air, believing the surrounding water provided an impenetrable geographic shield. But as the sea dried up, the island began to grow. By the year 2001, the water had receded so far that the island became a peninsula, physically connecting a laboratory full of lethal pathogens to the mainland. The sovereign void of the sea had dissolved, creating a new security nightmare for the entire region. The fifth layer is the tale of two seas. In the early 2000s, the sea split into two distinct bodies: the North Aral in Kazakhstan and the South Aral in Uzbekistan. This created a new geopolitical tension. Kazakhstan, with the help of the World Bank, built the Kokoral Dam in 2005 to save their portion of the sea. It worked. The water levels in the North Aral rose, and the fishing industry began to return. But the dam effectively cut off the flow to the South Aral, sealing its fate. Today, the South Aral has almost completely vanished, leaving behind only a narrow, hypersaline strip of water. It is a geographic choice between survival for some and death for others. This split proves that even in an environmental disaster, borders and national interests dictate the map. While the North Aral is a story of hope, the South Aral remains a geographic scar. The people of Moynock can only watch as their neighbors to the north reclaim their heritage, while they are left with the toxic legacy of a failed empire. This is the reality of the Aral Sea in 2026, a landscape divided by a dam and defined by a disaster that no single nation can truly fix. It is a reminder that when we change the map, we change the destiny of every person living within its lines. The disappearance of the Aral Sea is more than just an environmental tragedy. It is a case study in hydropolitics. It represents the ultimate tension between industrial progress and geographic preservation. In an era where water is becoming more valuable than oil, the Aral stands as a warning to every nation that relies on transboundary rivers. When the Soviet Union collapsed, the Amu Darya and Sir Darya became international rivers, shared by 5 different countries. This created a sovereign void of management. Without a central authority to regulate the water, the competition for irrigation has continued to bleed the region dry.
Furthermore, the Aral Sea disaster highlights the isolation ethic of large-scale engineering. Soviet planners believed they could isolate the impact of their irrigation projects, but geography proved them wrong.
The toxic dust from the Aral has been found as far away as the glaciers of the Himalayas and the forests of Norway. This proves that there are no truly isolated places on our maps.
A geographic scar in Uzbekistan is a wound for the entire planet. As climate change accelerates, the Aral serves as a blueprint for the disappearing oceans of the future, from Lake Chad in Africa to the Great Salt Lake in America.
Finally, we must look at the wealth of the void. Ironically, the drying of the sea has revealed massive deposits of oil and natural gas beneath the former seabed. This has led to a new geographic gold rush, with international corporations setting up rigs in the middle of what was once an ocean. The governments of the region are now faced with a choice. Do they try to restore the water, or do they exploit the riches revealed by its absence? The story of the Aral Sea is shifting from a tale of loss to a tale of extraction. It is the ultimate proof that in geopolitics, even a disaster can be turned into a commodity. So we are left with a difficult ethical question for the 21st century. Should we prioritize the restoration of the Aral Sea at any cost, even if it means destroying the agricultural economies of 5 different nations? Or should we accept that some geographic changes are permanent and focus instead on managing the toxic sovereign void that remains? Let me know in the comments. Is the death of the Aral Sea an inevitable price of progress, or is it a crime against geography that must be answered for? I am reading every response. If this investigation into the vanished maps of Central Asia fascinated you, you won't want to miss our next deep dive. We are heading to the middle of the Pacific Ocean, to another geographic scar. This time, a concrete tomb built over a nuclear disaster that is now leaking into the sea. We are going to a place where the map was changed by a blast, not a canal. Next week, Eniwetok Atoll, the geography of a nuclear graveyard. Make sure to subscribe to Tales by Flex so you never miss a story behind the maps. Geography is the lens through which we view our past, and sometimes that lens reveals a world we chose to destroy. I'll see you in the next investigation as we continue to uncover the secrets that define our world. Goodbye for now.